Greetings! This is another Flyout video, and today I'm going to show you some truly bizarre creations. Some are more bizarre than others, but you know what, let's start with something perhaps quite normal for once. And our first subject in this video would be the AGS 203-3. This is a multi-role fighter, and yeah, it looks a lot like the previously seen AGS 203-2, which is this thing right here. Now, the main difference between the two is that this one is better in every single way except one, and that one way it's worse than its newer cousin is the engine. This right here is a 9100 something horsepower radial engine with multiple rows, and you might ask, Günther, why did you put this into a plane? What reason do you have? I have one word for that: inefficiencies everywhere. Like, this thing requires such a large engine because it's just that bad. So keep that 9100 something horsepower engine in mind, and let's, for fuck's sake, come on, there you go. Let's take a look at this X engine with 2800 horsepower worth of power. It's actually not an X engine, it's just two V12s joined together, each having 1900 horsepower worth of power behind them. And I'm saying this because you have to compare the numbers. The previous AGS 203-2 was capable of going 850 kilometers per hour top speed, and this thing can go up to 710. Now consider the fact that the horsepower difference is just beyond measure. That's how efficient I made this thing, so let's see how efficient it is while flying. Alright, here we go. Now, when I said that this was efficient, I meant it in a way where I compared it to my other aircrafts, and yeah, compared to them, it is. If we compare it to something that's actually good, then it isn't really. And yeah, as you can see, I already took off. I can retract my landing gear, and as you can see, it does carry 6 presents, and I can drop them by pressing B, and sometimes they even explode. 1, 2, 3, well, half of them exploded, which is actually really great. Usually they just kinda land and don't do anything really. And these are not actual bombs, these are just improvised ones. I made them out of fuel hemisphere tank things that can actually explode sometimes, and yeah, that's about it really. Now I actually bothered decorating the interior a little bit, and yeah, as I said earlier, this thing is worse in every single way compared to the 203-2. However, these 20 mils fire really quickly, much quicker than the 37mm guns of the previously mentioned airplane, and the roll maneuverability is still very great, and the pitch is so great that it generates a disgusting amount of drag. Yeah, I mean, that's about it really. It's just a regular multi-role fighter that can do multi-role stuff, whatever that means. On to the next one. So, if you've seen my previous Sprocket videos, you probably are aware of the fact that I often reference a different game, one from the ancient past of this channel, and that game, yet again I'm referencing it, is Scrap Mechanic. But today I'm not going to show you a tank I made back in the days, no, I'm going to show you a plane, obviously. and could have actually seen it already because it's in a YouTube video of mine already. And this is the poltergeist light to medium weight bomber. Now this thing looks odd, but it looked a bit odder in Scrap Mechanic. Yeah, what can I say? It's a bomber. It can drop bombs. Also, it has a Jimmy with 4 of these 12mm machine guns. And I can use this turret by pressing my arrow keys, and I can fire these guns just like any regular gun with the spacebar. So let's see what this poltergeist can do. Alright, here we are. Let's start the engines. Talking about the engines, it has 2 of them, and they are both basically halves of the previously seen X engine. So these are both 1900 horsepower V12s. So yes, these are returning guests. Also, these are returning propellers because they are the most efficient I could ever design, so I'm using them in every aircraft I can. So yes, let's retract the landing gears. And the one thing I would note about this bomber is that it's fairly agile actually. Well, at least fairly agile for something that looks like this. Anyways, so let's open the bomb bay by pressing N, and let's drop the bombs by pressing B. It carries 8 100kg bombs, and only one of them exploded. That's what I call peak efficiency. My ass. If this is efficient, then I am the 5th reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Anyways, I can also play with this rear turret. I can move it around, and I can elevate my nose up so I don't give the ground a kiss. And I can fire this gun, or these guns, because there are 4 of them. Now, this isn't really a problem on this aircraft because it literally has no forward-facing armament. However, on other aircrafts with such a feature, yeah, I can't really fire them separately, which is kind of annoying, but I mean, that's life, I guess. So yes, this is the poltergeist, and it bombs. That's pretty much all I really need to say about it, really. On to the next one. Alright, before seeing the next design, let's take a step back. Let's look at what I showed in the previous video, and that is the AGS 204-2. But Günther, wasn't it named the 204-1 in the previous video? Well, yes it was actually. So what happened was, I realized I made several mistakes all at once, and I basically had to switch the names of the 204-1 and 2 to make up for all the mistakes I've made. So the AGS 204-1 is also a plane from Scrap Mechanic, however it wasn't in any of my previous videos. However, I did show it in a community post of mine here on YouTube, and here it would be. Now, keep these 2 canister launching things next to its nose on either side in mind, because yeah, I really didn't know what to make of those, so I made 2 versions of it. And that's funny because I made 2 versions of this plane in Scrap Mechanic as well. However, there was just one very minor difference between the 2. It's not really worth mentioning. However, what is the difference between the AGS 204-1-2 and the first version of it is not just that I switched off these guns, but also this -2 version has rocket pods on top of having more bombs than the actual bomber, on top of having these 4 37mm autocannons, while also having the previously seen quad 12mm machine guns. Yeah, this thing is armed to the teeth. Well, I mean, it doesn't have teeth, but you get my point. And it looks like a brick. I mean, look at the Scraponic version. They are both just flying bricks, and yeah. You know what, let's just move on and see what it can do. Now, one thing worth mentioning is that this thing is aerodynamically handicapped because, as I described it earlier, it looks like a brick and it does fly like a brick. However, one thing that's also worth mentioning is that the pitch controls handle more like a 1-ton block of ice. So whenever I press W or S, it starts sliding for some reason. I don't know what does this, but it's pretty damn annoying, not gonna lie. Now oh, I actually forgot I didn't make an interior for this. So the cockpit has actual view on the ground, which doesn't really help me because let's be real, there's no real way of aiming these bombs. However, I can indeed drop them after a huge leg spike, and they do explode occasionally. Huh, would you look at that? Did all of them actually explode for once? Damn! And also, I mentioned the rocket pods, and they also work pretty well. However, the pitch controls make using them extraordinarily difficult. But I mean, you can use them, so there's not much to complain about. And yeah, the 4 37mm autocannons fire rather slowly, but I mean, do you seriously expect something that looks like this to perform? I wouldn't. Let's just say that. Now, keep these 4 37mm guns in mind, and let's take a look at these canister launchers once again. And let's see the HGS 204-1-1 this time. For the 204-1-1, I interpreted those canister launchers a bit differently, and what I ended up making would be described only really as rocket-propelled explosive butt plugs. Yeah, I don't know if I want to say anything more about them. And another difference between the 204-1-1 and the -2 is that the -1 doesn't have the rocket pods underneath its wings, but otherwise they are pretty much identical. Alright, so these rocket-propelled explosive butt plugs have jets in them, and that causes lots and lots of pitch issues, as you could probably guess. However, they do provide some extra thrust as well, so they are not completely useless. However, they are still extremely annoying, and you know what, I'm going to show their use to you. I'm going to completely turn my engines off. Well, I actually do need the HUD. I'm slowing down, trying to keep myself horizontal, and pressing R, and there they go. None of them exploded. That just shows you how completely useless they are. But I mean, you have to admit it, they are pretty damn entertaining as well. But yeah, this thing is just shit in every single way, really. Well, it does drop 10 of these 100 kilogram bombs on your head, but I mean, look at it. It's literally a flying brick. It's just shit in every single way. Although with this version, unlike the 204-1-2, the pitch controls don't feel like a 1-ton block of ice. And I don't know why, but I'm not complaining. Yeah, there's not a lot left to say about this. On to the next one. Alright, so this next plane is also a ground attack aircraft, just like the previously seen AGS 204-1 planes. However, this one behaves very, very differently from those, and let's be real, this thing is so weird, it is basically uncomparable to anything I know of, although I don't know a lot about planes, so that doesn't say a lot from me. And you actually see this thing on the thumbnail of the video. However, you don't see the interesting part about it, so here it is in all its glory. Now, I believe you have several questions, and I think it's a fair assumption to make from my side to assume that every single one of them has the commonly used expression "what the fuck" in them. Yeah, so this is the AGS wraith, and it has two of the X engines of the 203-3, and yeah, I mean, I really don't know what else to say about it. It's better to just show. Alright, let's do this. So, a bit more about this aircraft. It has 4 of these 37mm autocannons. Yes, I do love them. And 2 20mm autocannons for self-defense in its rear. Now, the thing with this one is, as I said it earlier, it behaves very, very differently from any other ground attack aircraft I made. Let's take off. Let's retract the landing gear, and let's first get some speed for ourselves. Alright, now this thing is the exact opposite of a dive bomber, so I want to push my nose up real high and unleash clusterfuck. Yes, that's exactly what it looks like, and yeah, that is a cluster bomb, and that's precisely why I named it the clusterfuck. Oh look, something exploded down there. That's a miracle. Yeah. That's all it does. Really. That's every gimmick this thing has. It just drops down a flower-like bomb that drops its pollens. Yeah, I may be a poet, but I can't exactly make this thing rhyme. Yeah. Also, I made some aim assist in the cockpit, so this isn't exactly a hologram. I mean, it sure looks like one, but it's just made of regular compartment pieces. Are these called compartments? No, fuselage pieces. So yeah, there's nothing really to say about this. It just helps with my basically non-existent aiming skills. So as you can see, I can actually hit some houses, and I can perform my ground attack duties more efficiently. So yes, otherwise this thing is fairly agile for something that looks like this. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. So thank you for paying attention. If you enjoyed the video, hit the dislike button. If not, hit the dislike button. If you want to, you can unsubscribe and tell me in the comments what you thought of these planes, and especially this one, because I think it's the best one I made. Like overall the best one. or my most favorite one of them all, let's just say that. So, yes, bye.